You know what I didn't do though? I did not do all of our cuts and images, so I just took us live with no pictures showing. But
That sounds creepy.
everybody can
Just
hear
voices?
us. Yep, just voices, voices from the beyond. Uh, so let's since everybody's in the right location though, this should go quickly. Uh, yeah, that was dumb of me. Okay, there we go. So stupid. Okay, why are all these wrong?
It's the pretty show.
Yeah, it's just Corey. Ah, now we got Robin. Okay, we got me. None of the names are right anymore because I've had to move this around anymore. So like I that was Ed, but I came up. I don't know. All right, I think yay, everybody's there. Okay. Hi everybody. Sorry for the weird delay, but it wouldn't be starting a role play give game if there weren't a sound or visual problem. Uh, Welcome to Roleplay Give. Tonight we are playing Masks of Nyarlathotep on the Call of Cthulhu system, 7th edition. Uh, we are most of the way through Chapter 4, Egypt. And the investigators have recently learned a little bit about, I don't know if I would say their old nemesis, but the Penhew Foundation is certainly an organization of interest and have, I guess, they have come across as very nefarious and not just come across, they have shown themselves to be a nefarious organization to the investigators. And they were aware that the Penhew Foundation funded an expedition in Cairo at the time that they arrived, the Clive expedition. They've recently made the acquaintance of Dr. Henry Clive and also a couple of the members of his expedition, uh, including Martin Wingfield, Agatha Broadmoor, and mysterious German-speaking woman, as well as another seemingly British archaeologist who was walking around, and then anywhere between 50 to or 20 to 50 other hired hands and helpers who are working on the expedition. So, sorry, I have to let the dogs in. 1 second, please. Uh, so, uh, so they have become aware of this. They're also aware that the goal of the Penhew Foundation, it seems right now, is to, well, creepily resurrect a 3,000 long ago dead queen who was known to be evil incarnate and perhaps the queen consort of the Black Pharaoh, whom they have become aware of. His name is Nyarlathotep. Uh, and so all of these threads are starting to come together for our investigators since their first encounter with the strange in Peru 4 years ago. Um, and I think they also know that one of the items that these people need in order to resurrect this Queen Nitocris is hidden in the mosque of Ibn Tulun, which is now a sanitarium, and guarded by holy men of Islam. And they know that at some point these bad people will try to take that item using pretty aggressive means. Uh, and so they know that within 3 days, 3 nights, on the third night from now, bad things will happen. And I think that summarizes where. Oh, and they just recently, with the help of Dr. Ali Kafur, who is a magician of sorts, as well as an archaeologist, they have enchanted a machete. And so Purdy is now uh, in possession of a magical machete. which Magic Machete is really a great sounding 70s rock song. Like,
Next, we just need a mystical machine gun.
yep, a mystical machine gun. That's right.
Oh,
Ooh. Uh, okay. So, what I don't recall from where we left off, shame on me, is actually exactly where we left you all. And what time of day we're starting at right now. So, and I'm turning. You know
last
what,
thing,
Robin? I'm turning the music off. It's awful. I don't know why I'm
so
sitting.
calming.
Oh, it's so loud. I can't think. Okay. But there's that dead air I was talking about.
I'm not really sure where we left off, to be honest. Like at the end
The
of
last
day
thing,
one,
we
Harmon
murdered
had
Camel.
yeah, like
That's the last
it
thing
was
we
a
did.
bunch of stuff where it was like find an animal, blessed blade, sanity failures, three like it just random notes because we were doing things kind of by day and not like
Would
a
you
full day.
would you all
So
be comfortable with me saying that that happened on the evening? It's the next morning, and you have 3 nights. You don't have the third night from now is when bad things happen. So it's now morning. You've enchanted the night. There's one night of okay, one night of okay. Bad things happen.
My recollection is we were imminently on the way to the Ibn Tulum
Okay.
to tell them about.
I
Am
don't
I?
think we should sell ourselves short. We can make bad things happen each of those nights.
Well, that's also fair. Uh,
I feel like we were pretty sure that they have to come to that thing.
They have.
So
I was
we
going to
should
bring that up. Yeah, I agree. If we didn't already ask Doctor Kafur to say, "Hey, guy in there doesn't like us, but he likes you. Can you tell him, hey, we're going to help defend this place for when they come?" I was
Although
going to that.
there is another possible option. If they're going to send their forces there to take this thing, that might be an ideal opportunity for us to slip into the tunnels and take apart a mummy.
Let them slaughter whoever they wish inside to get their effect they need.
Well, I'm not going to be able to help stop them from that. I'll
nor
just
am
be
I.
slaughtered.
Not
We
much
should have
of a
had a training
fighter.
montage.
Damn it! Montage is a thing you can do in Call of Cthulhu.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but if we kick this hornet's nest, I'm thinking that they're gonna come after us pretty wild. Maybe before we cut up a mummy. Maybe it's smart that we find out exactly how we're getting out of here.
Shall we make
As in out
preparations?
of Egypt.
If we cut up that mummy, shouldn't we skedaddle?
I would agree, get as far away from here as possible.
Seems wise. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right.
You think if they have one of those fancy planes, we fly over the Indian Ocean, we can just toss it in there while we're at it?
I'm scared
Who knows?
enough of this. I don't need to go in the air.
What a better way to dispose of a body? Oops, my luggage fell out. That's really unfortunate. Who left the
Including
door
mine,
open?
I'm sure.
Are you guys just a place? I said that morning. So are you guys in like your rooms at Semirami's? Like, or are you having breakfast somewhere? Where would you like to be for this conversation?
Top of the pyramid.
Okay.
The pyramid.
Uh,
Go bold.
That's where we breakfast every morning.
I think if we're
Top of the
talking
pyramid
about
to you.
killing things and stuff like that, we'd be in our rooms. I don't think we'd be down having breakfast among other people
Okay.
if we're having that kind of conversation. That would be my vote.
I agree. I don't think Harmon would likely be mentioning hacking up a mummy in public.
Right.
Seems like an everyday conversation to me.
I
Okay.
mean, if I were British, perhaps I would be comfortable talking about that. They've done it many times, but I'm not.
Well, I'm British and I'm not, so I think we should stay in our rooms.
Right.
Robin, when you had the conversation with Agatha, did you guys exchange ways to contact each other, or was it just kept open for free or safe? Like, don't contact each other.
I don't think we have an established way of contacting each other.
Okay.
Reams.
Yeah, that was the way I got a hold of her last time, but the
Yeah.
odds are that's not going to be replicated.
Yeah, it was good dice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing that we talked about as far as how to get in contact.
So as I recall, you had expressed to her your concern about her safety.
Right, but she
Okay.
feels she needs to be there and
Yep. Right.
couldn't talk her out of that.
Okay. Hold on. I have I think a hurt child. I will be sorry. I'm actually going to put us on. I'm going to put us on pause. So sorry. Sorry about that false alarm. I thought a kid was hurt. I'm. Uh, all right. So
False alarm. That's a good thing to be mistaken on.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Okay. All right. I didn't say that other part on stream. Good. Okay. Uh, so
Good.
we're good to go. We're good to start.
So yes, I agree we should devise a plan of leaving the country as soon as possible after whatever happens. How maybe by boat or by air, doesn't matter. As long as we're able to transport the mummy out of here, we'll be fine.
Have
What it
you?
sounds like we just have to transport a very small part of that mummy.
I was gonna
Right.
say I think that you guys came to that conclusion already. As long as they couldn't put the whole body back together, you were okay.
So we
And we should keep an important part. So if they try,
pretty
it's
important.
missing.
I mean, that's pretty important.
That's morbid, but I agree.
I mean, find yourself a bowling ball bag and all your problems will be solved.
Unfortunately,
Hey,
I'm
wait.
not a golfer.
No, bowling. Golfing.
I understand.
But
Right. Professor. Anyways, travel plans definitely on the to-do list.
The money. Our lawyer back home, whose name is escaping me.
Carlton Ramsey.
Carlton Ramsey,
Yes, you know
attorney
him.
at law.
I'm really in like close to him and everything because he did send a telegram to me.
I wonder how much we should trust him since he's also named for a pharaoh.
Well, we have $500
That was Ramesses for them.
You do.
so if we need that for getting out of the country quickly.
Definitely useful.
Mm-hmm.
We may need to grease a few wheels since we have been expressly asked not to leave by the authorities.
We may need maybe some new identities. Maybe we
I'm running out of names.
Just add some backstory to our identities to try to make them and I have the name Carlton written down right next to it. So if
Okay.
I would have read my note, I would have remembered. But yeah, because we were worried about getting our friend Harmon out of jail, so he he added some more backstory to make our identities more valid. But I,
If
I
we
agree. I'm running out of ideas for new names.
if we if we book two sets of reservations, one with our current names, going one place, maybe like back, I don't know. Where do you want to travel this time? I'm thinking like Timbuktu. I hear that's nice. What one set of
That's an
reservations that
actual
way,
place.
set of reservations the way we want to go.
It is. It was the capital of Mali at one point. Uh,
Well, what leads do we have? We can continue our African adventure and see where they ended up dying. That'd be a nice place to start next.
on the
China
on
loves us.
on the map, what you
Hmm.
have that you're on right now, you have a dashed line to Kenya, which is where they went next. You also have some major evidence pointing to China. Sorry, go. Sorry, I'll stop.
Either we keep following their tracks or see where they ended up later.
I do like this idea of booking a passage on a ship somewhere, going somewhere else entirely under our current names, and adopting new ones as we travel elsewhere.
I just think they're going to follow us, and they're going to follow us quickly. I mean, we do stick out, right? And if for
What
any
if
reason, go ahead.
what if we were to um, book the passage by ship under our names, but then see about getting a car or something and heading overland for a ways before we disembark further. Is there somewhere I'm my memory of the landscape is escaping me, but that might give us a chance to traveling overland will be harder to spot where we've gone.
No, I'm looking at the map. I guess it all depends on where we're going. I'd say let's settle the destination first, then we'll determine travel plans.
I mean, I can go down and talk to the guys at the, you know, you know, the porters and stuff, and see if I can find a solution to that. If there's some place, I don't think we're going to be able to drive all the way to China, but maybe we can drive to another port that's not this one.
That was my thought. Not driving necessarily to our next destination because the two that we know of are Kenya and China, and neither one is particularly drivable in the time frame that we're looking at.
So yeah, I can take that on in the next few days. Is try to find an alternate port that we would and arrangements for us to get to that port in sort of a hurry. I'm thinking Corey is thinking Alexandria.
Okay.
Go up to the top rather than over to the side, but who knows?
If we were to go up to a port on the Mediterranean, would it then pass back through
Sorry.
this canal on the way where we wanted to go? And is that a
Ooh.
problem?
Yeah, well, good question. Alternately, we could try to, we could try to pass into Transjordan. I think that's what it's called at this point. Transjordan, and
Sounds right.
hit up some ports down there, down into Yemen.
It seems to me that heading out of town overland in a car will give us a chance to lose our pursuers, a better chance anyway than we have just getting on a boat.
I think so as well, because even if we have another set of false names, it's going to take some time for that to be put together, and we only have a few days. I
And the
don't.
four of us traveling together we are conspicuous.
Right, no matter what our names are.
Maybe we have a big fight in public, and everyone knows we're not traveling together anymore.
Like we're breaking up the band.
I mean, you do snore, Clyde, and I don't mean to say something, but I'm getting sick of it.
Listen, the doctor said it was a medical condition. We've had this discussion already. Anyways, now we have a sort of route planned. I'll refer back to my previous point. Where are we going? Where?
Well,
The whole travel means nothing unless we know where we're going. So it's either China, Kenya, or even Australia. For I don't know.
for
We need
metagamey
we
reasons.
need
We don't
we
know
need a destination.
Australia. So, Nairobi's the easy. I mean, in the sense of if there are people on ships looking for us going to China means we are stuck on a ship for a very long time with the possibility in every port of being caught. If we go to Nairobi, it's a shorter trip, and I don't think Corey doesn't think there's any ports in between. Um,
I think the Kenya destination could give us information. It's closer. We could do that. And if there's nothing there and it dries up quickly, we can travel from there to China.
Okay with this. Just keep following the path they're taking, and maybe it would lead to something that who knows the police missed or didn't want us to see, or didn't want the public to see. Guess they're alive, as our late friend has already informed us. It just matters how.
So, in some point in these next few days, Purdy, accompanied by whoever, will try to work out these arrangements of arranging a public trip, like going to a travel agent, being like, "Oh, we really want to see Sharm el Sheikh," or some luxury vacation thing,
Okay.
and then but also this other how to get to Nairobi.
Okay.
Not the obvious means.
Now, by you would prefer what I had heard you guys talk about is a land route, or you could
Land
potentially go down the Nile as well, I believe.
What about asking our Dutch friend to get us a car?
That man has no money. We know that better than anyone else.
But
There's
if
no
we
reason
give
he's stuck
him
here.
if we give him money to go get a car, and then give him a little extra to survive on for a time, we wouldn't be seen renting it. Is the point? And he's mentioned to any number of people in the tavern that he has no means of leaving. So if suddenly he's renting a car, and he's obviously said he wanted to go.
With this, just as long as we back to us. Blame the Dutchman. I mean, we give him a little extra money, send him back to Netherlands. We're all good.
Okay.
Yes, I think that plan works best if he does actually leave so that he can't be persuaded to turn on
Yes,
us. Right.
I agree, and
Okay.
we have the funds currently to if he wants to return home, and it sounded like he did, we could fund that in exchange for him getting us a car, or not under our names.
Right. I like that.
And we don't even have
Solid
to
idea.
return. It's in his name.
Yeah, we're not going to return it. I mean, really, our track record with cars, we knew we weren't returning it. It's going to have parts.
Solid idea.
Yeah, I can talk to him. He likes me.
Okay. So no longer the travel agent going to go see Van Hoevelen.
Well, the travel agent for the tickets under our current names.
Gotcha.
Like something very like, let's go see Tehran or something. Like,
Okay. Maybe the Fertile Crescent.
Or maybe even on a ship heading somewhere further, so that they track that ship longer. rent us a berth on a ship heading back to the States.
Well,
In London.
anyways,
London.
Almost
Yeah, stay
assuredly,
safe.
you would stop either in probably Gibraltar, Madrid, or Portsmouth before. Well, I suppose in France before heading to the United States anyway. Uh, so any choice you make. The only reason I'm asking is to put it down for posterity's sake in case it becomes relevant.
I'm gonna. Then I'd say America, like America through London, so
Okay.
that basically we're going home.
Yeah, so we're booked on a trip going home.
Fake booking, although it's a real booking but they're not going to take. You're not going to take it. Real booking. They are not going to use to New York City via Portsmouth.
Well, and although it would put him in some danger, we could let Van Heuvelen use that berth, and he could just use our ticket, and get on that ship.
I mean,
we
we could have them be our.
he
Yeah.
can book his own.
I think it not only puts him at danger, but if they do catch him and think he's one of our,
You're right. It gives him the opportunity to snitch, as it
right.
were.
I don't really feel he's trustworthy with important things.
Or unimportant ones.
That's true.
I mean, he sold out those casseroles immediately, so
And if
I
he
mean,
figures out we've changed his notes, and then he'd have even more reason to turn on us.
Well, he's going to want to get back to Europe to publish this great find he's made.
And I'm going to want him to be in Europe before he finds out it's not a great find.
Yes, I think that all sounds great.
Okay. So this is you have 3 full days before bad things happen that you're aware of. Other bad things could happen, but you know on the third night is when Agatha Broadmoor said bad things will happen. So, on this day, is it just Purdy going to the travel agent and then to Van Heuvelen, or what is if that's Purdy's order of events, what are the rest of you gonna do? So that I can start ordering out what happens with this day.
Well, someone should go with you simply because that's our policy, right? It's our rule.
Yes, I don't
it's
think
just
anyone
the
should
buddy
go
system.
alone.
But Corey really wants to roll up a new character. uh, all right.
I suppose I could go back and take another crack at learning that spell.
Okay. All right. All right. So with the buddy system, two of you will go back to Dr. Kafour. Two of you will go to a travel agent or to Van Heuvelen first. You guys tell me what you want to do there, the order of events, and then we'll play that out.
I'm fine with going to Dr. Grifor. I can form over ideas to keep a lookout at the Fulmar Mosque to make sure no one breaks in and cause too much trouble.
I say the Dutchman first.
Okay.
Right, I'll go with you, Purdy.
Okay. All right. Do you guys? I don't actually have a preference given what you guys are choosing. Who would like to go first? I can just choose. We'll start. Actually, we'll start with Van Heuvelen. With the two of you going to see him at his ratty ass bed sit. I believe it's only been not even 2 full days since you managed. Actually, like little over a day, because you guys.
All of his cat scratches have had plenty of time to swell up.
No. So gross. Uh, I describe a lot of disgusting things in this game and in Dungeons and Dragons, and that one really got me. Just swollen cat scratches, because it made me think of Ted Nugent, and that, and that induces a gag reflex.
Oh no,
Uh,
no, no! I'm talking about actual cats, not underage girls.
yeah. Oh God, he's such a creepster. All right. All right. So you go to Van Hoevelin's bedsit, this just disgusting bedsit, and how do you know, he had the second floor. The last time you guys actually climbed up the fire escape, I think, to get up there. But there is a front door with, you know, that he's over a person's shop and home. He's uh, and so you it's daylight
I
now.
think
So
Daisy and I have been the proper way to his house before
oh, okay.
because we detoured and went to save the one night.
Well, you were with him though, I believe, right? Or did you?
We convinced him to give over the documents.
Right,
Right.
right, with him. Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, he to get to his actual room, you have to go through this shop, um, and it's currently open and operating. So, it's a sort of a like coffee and tea emporium kind of thing. Uh, and so, as you walk in, there's a man there who speaks no English, who is, you know, greets you in Arabic, which I'm sure at this point you guys know basic greetings and whatnot. Uh, and gestures around the shop. We have lots of, like, you know, those big canisters full of you know, tea leaves and coffee. It smells amazing, unless you hate coffee and tea. Uh, I love it, so that would be a great smell. But he just huh? And then a couple more words in Arabic at you.
Well, when we were with him last time, he was with us and we just went up. Is that, I'm trying to remember
Yeah,
how we got to his room.
yeah, he just walked you up there with him.
Okay.
So
I'm not the speaker in the group, but maybe Purdy, we should just ask if we can go up and meet our friend. You know?
Hey, I I lost my cat. Meow.
ow.
A guy upstairs has my cat.
Van Hoevelen, and I'll point
Hoyland,
upstairs.
Hoyland, meow. He just waves you on. uh, I could have just let that go, but I wanted to see how you guys were gonna get, how you were gonna do that out of curiosity. Uh, so you go up the stairs, and behind the door you can hear like frantic rustling about. Just a flurry of activity.
Just, do we just knock?
A single person though. It doesn't sound like there's a bunch of people in there. It just sounds like one person moving around. A little bit of humming.
Hey, cat friend, what are you doing in there?
Just opens the door. Oh, hello, hello. Come on in. I'm uh I'm about to send off this. He's got in his hands a little telegram thing he's written up about his huge find. Hopefully that will advance me the money to get me home.
Oh, oh, well, we might have some good news for you on this one.
Do any of you have any like ointment or any kind of like topical, like a cream or anything? I find
Actually,
I am.
I do. Strangely enough, I have a first aid kit. I'm a nurse. I can perhaps help you a little bit with those
He
scratches.
pulls up his pant leg and it's just, you know, torn and swollen. He's like,
Oh, that's.
it's amazing
Yeah.
after they get a chance to heal how much they itch.
Well, you need to stop scratching.
Oh, he's like a cat scratch fever. Oh,
No, no, we don't do that.
okay. Uh, so anyway, he's just very excited because he got a full night's sleep and everything seems to have been put right. And he's like, that will be published and I will be famous throughout. Well, probably only the archaeological world, really. Of who are we kidding? But huge. This is huge. This is a huge success for me.
We have a favor to ask, but I think our favor is going to help you out more than it's going to help us.
Those are the best kind of favors. What?
So, we we're not so good with. You seem to know more of the language and know more of the people around here than we do.
This is true.
We were wondering if you'd be willing to rent us a car for a few days from now. And in exchange, we can help you out with your ticket back home.
And he gives you sort of a like the narrowing of the eyes, and he's like, you could hire a dragoman to do that for you.
Oh, we have had such bad luck with Drogomen. There was this little kid who just cheated us out of all this money and ran around the marketplace, and it just, we want someone we can trust. And we've already had a pretty good experience, win-win, with you.
I see.
And we're not looking for like someone around town. We're actually, and this is where we kind of need you're the most suave guy we know. So we would like it if you like. We don't really want to tell them that we're going to be driving to the north a bit out of the city, and we're worried that if we try to rent a car for a few days, they're going to start asking those sorts of questions.
So you are coming to me as the most trustworthy person you know to engage in an act of deception on your behalf.
Well,
I
it's
love
not
it.
really deception. We're really kind of hoping that they don't even ask the question, so you wouldn't really have to lie.
Okay, and
But
then
it's like you
this.
asked, you
Now,
know.
I'm somewhat confused on your plan as to how this is better for me.
Well,
You
we're going to
get,
give you money for the car, plus we're going to give you money for your ticket home.
Oh, you
we'll
are going to
hire you to go do this for us, right?
you will pay for my ticket to get back to Amsterdam?
Yeah, nothing extraordinary. We're not talking like
Steerage, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Still, anything. I
any
will.
extra money you get, you can upgrade, I guess.
I will do it. Uh, can you book this to leave tomorrow?
I don't remember what day we need it for, guys. Sorry.
I think the plan was that we get to the mummy as soon as possible and cut it up. Was that? Am I?
I mean,
Right, because we don't want to wait until the third night and like get there while they're there.
now he likes
So
you guys, so he's going to say, "Look, if you have this kind of cash, where you can just purchase me a ticket to Amsterdam, you probably have cash enough to buy yourself a car. You don't need
We'd
to."
still need help with that, though.
Yes, I can do that. I just think it might be simpler to just buy a car from a guy, you know? Less paper trail if I'm picking up what you're
Gotta see a man about a camel.
mhm.
laying down. I know a couple people who.
We tried to buy a camel to do this, but that camel ended up dead real quick, and so we need a car.
Did you know a car only costs $525 in 1920? More you know. And he
Well,
That's
said
a
that's
new
it.
car. That's a
He
new
said that's
car.
yeah, I was gonna say, and that's a brand new car in and not in Egypt, I'm assuming. So,
It loses like $150 if you drive it off the lot.
right. So I'm gonna say you guys have this at your disposal. He agrees to find you a car within 1 day in exchange for a ticket to Amsterdam.
And we have the money for that.
Yeah.
We have
Well,
$500 for sure, in addition to what other money we would have.
Yeah. I, I was thinking about this today when I was building out some stat blocks for NPCs. You guys should all really just throw your credit ratings anywhere between 30 and 40. Um, if they're not already. And if yours is higher than that, keep the higher. But if it's lower than that, throw your credit rating to 35. I'll split the difference. Because you have this sort of blank checkiness. And the credit rating is also used for how much you impress people with your ability to purchase things and the way you look. And you guys are all not trying to look shambolic is the British slang I've heard for that. Um, so
Mine is currently 9.
Mine is currently 9 as well.
well, mine was
Big harm
33,
in his
and I'm
money
pretty
bags.
sure I was the highest.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15.
So
so
yeah, I'll go to
Ooh.
35 for sure.
there you
I'll
go.
go to 35.
Everybody put yourself 35
And
because
that
that
changes your walking around money too.
it really does. So because that seems more accurate to what you guys would have for walking around money.
So it's your spending level at $10, where you don't even have to worry about it, and then you have $70 cash available.
How much was the car?
Ooh. I feel
A
rich.
new Chevrolet in the 1920s is $525, or about
Well, we all have
$6,200.
in our pockets.
But you
But
guys
we're
are
not going to get a new
you're
car.
not gonna get a brand new Chevrolet. He's gonna find you an old shitty Model T, but like it'll be for like $100, and you guys will have a car that's yours to do with, which will not have. I mean, even if they had like, I mean, they might have had registration, but I'm. It's not going to be a car that's going to be traceable in any way. So.
Which
So
will
they
be
got-
good after we kill somebody with it.
And we can put the body in the trunk and throw him in the river. Problem solved.
Or the ocean.
We could
Woo!
duct tape the magic knife to the front of the car.
Yes.
Oh!
And then we'll go ram some mummies.
When was duct tape invented?
I got you.
We'll have Clyde sit on the hood with the knife out, and I'll drive.
I'm going to drive towards you, and if you get cut, it's not my fault.
1943.
Okay. So we're still a little bit out on duct tape
But
being
first, we're going to have to invent duct tape.
around.
It shouldn't
We'll
be
get
too
it done.
hard. Yeah.
All right. So this part of the plan, you guys are going to have a getaway car if everything goes to plan.
I would just like to tell the audience that Paul is pouring wine, not peeing. It sounded an awful lot like peeing. He's not peeing.
Oh
Well,
man.
you don't know. You can't see him. You're
I'm
just
telling the audience
surmising.
this. Nope, I'm telling the audience this because this is their truth, whether it's what is happening or not. Because
Fun
if
duct
Paul's
tape fact.
peeing,
You better
I'd
come
rather
back
the
with a
audience
wine
know that
glass,
it's wine.
Paul.
On the fact of duct tape was used to keep moisture out of ammunition cases during the Second World War. The more you know.
Oh. Wine. It was wine.
I just heard that noise and went, that sounds an awful lot like peeing.
Yeah.
He's not.
Nope, I'm not.
Should
He
never have
will
turned
be
on
later because he's
music.
having lots of wine.
That's true. I am. I'm gonna switch to water, I think, after this glass. Okay.
Like the Antichrist.
How? Yeah, that's true. It would be. That's really fast and clever. And anyway, all right. So, this you agree upon it, and he actually just folds up his note that he was writing. But his bags are already packed. He's like not planning to be here much longer. He's goodbye Egypt, goodbye Santa Mass. Just happy to be on his way out. So if everything goes to plan with Van Hoyvelen, you'll have a car tomorrow. I am not necessarily needing you guys to RP out the purchase of tickets. You're just going to purchase tickets that will stop in Portsmouth, and then one for him to go directly to Amsterdam.
think
Right.
so, right?
Okay.
Are we buying him that ticket or just giving him the money to do it?
Up to you guys.
Well, I think we should give
I
him the
don't
money
I
to
don't
do
remember
it.
what we determined. I
don't
I
know
was
as if we decided, but I think it's better to give him the money to buy his own ticket rather than us buying, because we're trying
That's
to downplay the number of connections.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We don't want to buy them all at the same place either. Whereas if they ask what happened, yeah.
yeah, we've got a rough idea of the cost of that. We're just giving him cash.
Hmm.
Got it. Okay, I'm gonna make a note of that. Um,
And I
but
think it would be funny if we try to act like we're being really slick with buying these tickets, Pretty. If you go and buy two, and I'll go and buy two, and we act like we're not together.
I think that's a good plan because they're gonna think we are together.
Yeah, but we're not, and we think we're smarter than them by splitting it up like this.
all right. Moving over to um, Harmon and Clyde going to the Cairo Museum, uh, where Dr. Kafur is. You guys go back down once you're admitted. They're starting to get to know you. But both of you make spot hidden checks because, I mean, not to tell you what to do, but you know that the museum has been watched. Um, okay, wow. Nice work. Um,
Extreme.
you
Hard.
extremely hard. Uh, the the it's the same car that was here the last time. There are two, well, not the same one because one of those guys was killed with a gear shift. Uh, but a similar
And
car.
that car was pretty well broken.
Yeah, well, it's missing a gear shift. Actually, there were a lot of things wrong with it, but yeah. You guys in cars. Uh, but the
Good thing we're buying one.
similar car, similar sort of positioning. Uh, so you guys see this before you enter the building. Do you want to change anything? Do anything differently?
Go around back. I'm sure he gave us a side entrance if shit like this happened.
You're fairly certain they haven't seen you yet, so
I'm going to grow a mustache.
okay.
It's
You're
more
gonna
of a
what?
long-term plan, but
More of a long-term
You're
one.
gonna grow a.
yes, a mustache.
All right, you guys.
So I'll be less recognizable.
Can you even grow one? I mean, I've been with you
Oh,
for
yes.
months and I've seen nothing.
I shave daily.
Is that it?
One must take pride in one's appearance.
Says, and I'm just like some scraggly, just American. I don't look great. Yeah, you keep doing that, doctor.
I
Anyways,
think when we're traveling, I'm going to let it grow out. Be harder to recognize when we get where we're going.
And this conversation is
I'll tell
happening
ya.
as you guys are going around the back way.
Yeah, I'm following Clyde.
Okay.
I don't think Harmon's even aware that we're going through a different door.
Well, you saw them, so
Yeah,
you're aware.
absolutely, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't know how to address it,
Ah,
and Clyde did, so I'm just following.
gotcha. Okay.
Harmon's just being scared. That's Harmon's answer to everything.
Makes sense. Let's see. These guys don't even have. Oh, they do have a spot hidden. Okay. Okay, they don't notice you guys. Um. So. Oop, I still have that going on. So you guys sneak around the back, and sure, we can retcon it out to say Dr. Kafur gave you another way to get in. There's this door that leads into like an unimportant warehouse room where he knows the guards, not the guards, the maintenance workers typically prop it open so they can walk out and have a cigarette. Because even in the 20s, smoking around mummies is frowned upon. Uh, so they
Smoking mummies, though. all
Totally,
okay.
totally cool. If you have the means, it's highly recommended. Uh,
It is
but
so choice.
but you can sneak into the back that way and sort of elude any other eyes as you get to Dr. Kafour's office. He then leads you down back to his hidden sort of storage locker area, storage room, and we can do yet another um, POW check for
This
Harmon.
is just intelligence, right? This is to
That's right. The first one was intelligence. That's
Come on. You can do it.
right.
no shit. I
Nice.
can.
Yes.
It finally happened. I
Nice job,
I didn't
Harmon.
even get the book out for what has to
It
happen.
happened with a plum.
Now I need to go back to the spell book to learn a spell.
I'm able to learn it.
That's right. So that means that spells, chases,
Even seeing
sanity.
everything that I've seen, I didn't think it was possible. I thought it was all a farce. I didn't think we'd get here.
When you learn, so you no longer need a book to cast it.
Well, I'm just even able to cast it because unless you learn it, you can't do it at all.
I thought it's research to discover the spell. Learning it eliminates the need to have the book with you when you cast it.
No, it's like kind of practicing. You're using the book to practice doing it without the book. The book has no means of casting a spell. It's the person. He needs the book to learn how to do all the right things to cast it.
So in a sense, you're right. I can now cast it without the book, but I wasn't able to cast it with the book.
The book is the means of
Huh.
learning the
There's
spell.
learning a spell from another person. I didn't read this section before.
Oh,
Having learned a spell, a character may teach it to others. One-on-one teaching is quicker than one person learning from a book, and typically a spell can be learned in 1 week or less. Use the same rules for learning a spell from a book, bearing in mind that the process will be faster. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay.
all right.
Um,
Yeah.
so if success is not automatic, the player should attempt a hard int roll to learn the spell. Done. If the player fails to roll, okay. Player may ask push, okay. When thinking of consequences, blah blah blah. If investigators are in no hurry, they can continue working on the spell without pushing the roll. The timing of the next is at the okay. Um, to learn a spell can take hours, weeks, or months. Just as with learning a mythos book, learning a spell may be put aside. Usually, a roll is called. Okay, so I guess you just learn it, right? Now you can just cast it.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I now know Flesh Ward.
you do. I will. I don't know that I have put this spell in here yet. I may have. But if I did, I did. Okay. So, I'm bringing up Harmon's sheet. And you should now have that spell in your abilities.
Where in my abilities would that be?
I am trying to figure that out myself. The NPC one is way easier to navigate than the PC one. Let me try this again. Alright, I'm going to unlock. Oh, I've put it in so many times. It's in your gear in cache, and it's in there 15 times.
Well, that makes sense. It's gear and cash.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's ridiculous. Why is that in gear cache?
I would not have looked there. I was looking in skills and combat and couldn't find it.
Okay, so there it is. And I think if you just click on it, it should. Let's see what happens. We won't count this, but just for learning. Does it do anything?
No, it just describes it.
Okay.
But you can hold on. If I unlock something, if I unlock on the Garen cache and then I go to that spell, I can press the cast button.
Oh,
If it's unlocked, I can cast.
that's
I don't know. Let me see if it's unlocked. If it's when it's locked, if you go to the middle icon, the whatever it looks like a pen and paper, there's a cast button.
oh.
You see?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
there
okay.
is. Cool. There it is. Okay, so that will
I'm gonna put that sanity back.
check. Did it take it? Did it take it?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's great that it automatically does it too. All right, so you can now cast Flesh Lord on. What a roll! That was awesome.
I did not expect that.
No, I did not either. uh, so uh, and I'm assuming that Clyde does not hang around for all this, right? Clyde was going to do something else with that time. Ibn
Well, I
Tulin
need Doctor
is.
before.
Yeah, you need Dr. Kafur. Okay, so you're hanging out while
Yeah,
this is happening.
Harmon was. This was like a
I'm
couple of hours or so.
It was a couple of hours.
I'm just checking my equipment, making sure it's all ready to go for the shit that's gonna go down the next few days.
Got it. So once you feel like you have the spell, he says, "Well, I am also glad that you both have come." Uh, and he pulls you over to another book at a table. He says, and he shows you this. It's all in Arabic. Uh, he says, "This is actually what you might call like medieval Arabic." Um, and it describes uh, that I don't I had not never seen this before, but it describes a linkage between the Black Pharaoh and the Bent Pyramid at Dashur. This is, I mean, for centuries, people have assumed the Bent Pyramid was a place of the occult, but um, disregarded. There's no, there's not. I've been there myself, um, but uh, apparently the west entrance where the sun sets, where the Black Pharaoh rises. Um, I saw nothing when I was there, but perhaps your eyes will see something mine did not, should you choose to go looking there. Um, I bring it up only because I just came across it last night, um, looking for ways perhaps to help you learn quicker. But it just caught my eye. Um,
Where'd you say it was? The west entrance?
uh, uh, according to this treatise, the west entrance was sacred to the Black Pharaoh. But the west entrance is the last time I was at Dashur at the Bent Pyramid, it was boarded up. Uh, the north entrance is. Let me check something. I'm pretty sure it's the north entrance is currently the one where tourists are encouraged to enter. 1 second though. Yeah, the north entrance. But again, as I said, I've been there many times. I've seen nothing to indicate that there's anything there. But you might be
Well, these
interested.
pyramids seem to have more secrets than they let on half the time we're there.
That's been my experience as well. Again, you've seen things I have not. I thought perhaps it would be important to pass it on to you.
Anyways, that's good to know. We might check it out later. It all depends on our plans going forward. We might not even, but we'll have a knowledge of it
Well,
nonetheless.
that's where the Clive expedition had, retreated to Maidun and Dashur. So
Maybe that's where they got the remaining two artifacts.
this is possible.
It's been lost. The hatch has been closed up. Maybe they had access to it before, where the public did not.
Also possible. I don't see how myself, but it's,
Well,
um,
wealth and money can go a long way.
wealth and money can go a long way in acquiring knowledge that I personally don't have.
But wealthy foundation like the Penhus might be able to do such things.
The Pengu is one thing, but it occurs to me that there must be some secret hand here in Egypt.
Well, if the Brotherhood and them are together, maybe they pull within the higher authorities of the city.
Potentially. I I was
They work
thinking
that
to
way in
myself as who must lead the Brotherhood in Egypt?
wish I knew. Well, it is something similar going on in New York when we were there with the police. Also, was a bit of an issue. Anyways,
Yes, the police are
so
not always ones to be trusted.
anyways, so about Ibn Tulin.
Yes, you wish me to speak with Abdullah again. I hope that's the right name.
Abdulin, I think his name
Yeah,
was.
Ahmad is correct. Ahmad al-Dahabi.
Al Dahadi needs to know what's going to happen, and whether he likes it or not, they're coming, and he, I believe, would very much like assistance in whatever is on its way.
You two seem like the most persuasive people in your group. Um,
I'm not there. I'm learning the spell.
Yush.
he's there.
We're,
That's
we're
the
Dr. Gafur. We're
you're with
Dr.
him.
Gafur.
This is
After the
after
spell.
the spell was learned.
Oh, I thought you were talking to him while I was learning the spell.
Oh no, he would be teaching you. That's why we can
He'd be
do this
teaching
in a
you.
day.
See,
So this is like 3 hours later after you master the spell.
gotcha.
Okay. Um. So
So
I
I
will.
still haven't cast it yet.
Well, if you
And
did,
casting it requires a hard power check.
it does. So.
So,
Uh.
so I'm not. I've learned it, but I have not. I'm not able to cast it yet. I'm not able to consistently cast it.
You
Yet.
you have
Once
no
I've
idea.
Once I've cast it, for once I can just do it.
Okay. Do you?
I was just reading through it,
Okay.
so I'm gonna have to keep trying to cast it. But a failure costs nothing.
Okay. Success,
There's no sanity cost to fail.
but there is a cost of sanity on a success.
Correct.
All right.
Is
Perfect.
this for the one success or every time cast it?
Every time I cast it, it costs sanity.
Ouchie.
But if I try to and fail with the power check, it doesn't cost anything. So there's no penalty. I'm gonna be trying it once a day until I get it.
Okay. Um. Did you want to try casting it now?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Give her.
Not quite there.
Oh, you needed a hard?
You need a hard success. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to push?
Nope.
Okay.
I'd say when the next time you're ready.
It's an absolute emergency.
Okay.
I would agree, and if it does, blow all your magic points on a cast, and it's just that nice big hit point pool to soak up.
Yeah.
So magic points in this, I just choose how many I want to spend, and every one that I spend on a successful cast is a d6 of this armor.
Yep.
So
Pretty good.
it looks like it's only one target. So, but essentially, I can load somebody up with just a shit ton of magic armor.
And
Because I have 11 magic, so I have 11 magic points. I could put 11 d6 of armor.
And
on
how do
somebody.
you recover MP? I don't know that. I haven't read that far
It's
myself.
like 1 per hour.
1 per hour? Okay.
Yeah, up to 24. Yeah, obviously 24 in a day.
Okay. Cool. All right. So that did not quite work, but
Close though.
Close.
I'm figuring it out.
so as
I'm
you were
Be
preparing to
accepted
cast the spell,
into academic circles again.
excellent. He is pleased with your progress, and as that, then he does that little I found this curious thing about the bent pyramid, and all of that occurs. In that time, that 3 to 4 hours that's occurring, that would be the time that it took for you guys to get to Van Hoevelen, broker that deal, and then also purchase your fake tickets to New York, plus the ticket, or get the cash wired to you to hand over to Van Hoyland. It's what now, like 1 p.m. Uh, what I'm gonna go back to Purdy and Daisy. You got an afternoon. You're not necessarily expecting to see the other two right away because it's taken all day with uh, with Harmon in the past. So, what is it you guys would like to do with your afternoon? Would you go to the museum? What would you do? I don't know. I
I
don't know.
don't think I would go to the museum, partly because we know that that place is being watched, and the more traffic
Sure.
that's going in and out is just asking for trouble. Don't know. The one thing, Purdy, I hope Van Hoylen, maybe even if the research was twisted a little bit, maybe when he publishes it, it'll be enough information that it'll restore his credibility in his circles. I mean, I think I think Clyde only changed a few of the symbols just to make it so it wouldn't cast awful magic. So maybe it's not destroyed completely.
I mean, on the other hand, you can sort of think of it as I think he would have been dead if we didn't interfere,
Oh,
right? Like
absolutely agree. I just hate seeing him look so hopeful, and if there's absolutely no chance of it, or if it's all just
maybe
poppycock.
maybe he meets the love of his life on that ship going back.
Or
You never
maybe
know.
it sinks and he'll never know.
Maybe
I'm
maybe he
kidding. That
learns
was
to like
Maybe
all.
he meets Lord Cthulhu, who rests in Riley in Atlanta.
uh,
Atlanta?
The Atlantic Ocean is what I meant to
Oh,
say.
I
But
thought you said
Georgia?
Atlanta too. I'm like,
I
is
did.
that
I
chapter? Oh, okay.
totally said Atlanta.
Man, Georgia is fucked up.
It's got
So it's
election
at least
fraud
it's
problems
not New
and
Jersey.
Cthulhu.
you know,
Uh,
hey, now you're healthy.
All right.
Anyway, was there anything else that you wanted to do, Purdy, before?
I mean, I keep thinking that this Neris was nice enough to give us, this favor. What are you going to use yours for?
I don't know. I haven't really thought
Did we
about
have
it.
to use it before we leave?
I
Like,
wonder. That would make. I mean, this is where she is.
I don't know, use mine. It wasn't very good, but
Did you have an idea of what I
I'm
should
just
use it
trying to
for?
think of how, like, I'm sort of thinking mine might have been better. I don't know. Like, what's the best ways to disrupt if they're going to do a big ceremony, a big, you know, this this weird thing that's going to go on? What's the best way to disrupt it? I mean, can you imagine if we could just, make the Nile just pour into the basement of that pyramid and everything floods? Or, I don't know, locusts, anything to stop them from doing it.
I mean, I think we have cats. I think that's what our.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it would work better later, but
Hmm.
um, I mean, do you think the only thing I can think of is if Daenerys or if Bass knew another way to stop the stuff, right? We everything we know right now is stuff we learned from books, but if Daenerys is really connected with a god, maybe and Bass doesn't like
Right.
Black Pharaoh, maybe
I wonder if we'd have better luck having her intervene with when they try to get the girdle, because I felt like Bask's power was somewhat like limited by the pyramid.
No, you're right. Just the so I don't know. I don't know how all that works, but I feel like if we're not trying to use everything we have at our disposal,
So a plague of cats will be our backup plan.
just yeah, I don't know. Maybe give them all cat allergies. So
Oh, don't wish that on anyone.
No, it's awful.
I feel Harmon would protest that plan. No, it's a good thought though, because if you, to me, it seems like we have two things we're trying to thwart, possibly, saving lives where the girdle is, and getting in and destroying the mummy before they can resurrect it. And if she
I
could
mean,
help,
also you're a friend if saving her, if something bad's about to happen to her.
yes, that's most likely what I would want to use my favor for. But
Right.
I don't know how. She was adamant on staying. She believes she needs to be there.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know a good way to convince people when they're that stubborn.
And sadly, I think her plan is if it gets to be close, if she removes herself from the situation, I
But
mean, and makes the sacrifice.
is she going to be wise enough to know when the right time to do that is?
I don't
Or is she
know.
have the power to remove herself? I mean, that
I
German
know.
woman was following her around, right?
I
I
know.
think
And and what if they don't what if they I don't know, maybe they just need parts of her even. I don't know what their plan is.
we could kidnap her. I mean, that sounds violent, but if we think it would stop it, I mean, at least kidnap her that night if all else fails.
That's an idea.
Like if she knows this has to happen that night.
And I'm assuming that because she said bad things will happen on the third night, I'm assuming that's the night they're planning to resurrect
Nighto
the
Chris.
mummy. But um, I just I really would feel much better getting in there as soon as possible, getting rid of using the blessed blade or whatever we have to get to just chop her to pieces. I don't want to wait,
You
but
want to go now?
we do have to wait for the others to get back, but I don't want to wait too much longer.
Let's go tonight then. Let's convince them.
We'll have to talk about it when they get back, but I think that makes sense, doesn't it?
I mean, from what I understand, the professor is figuring out how to, do that thing where you pick a card out of a deck and he tells you what it is. So, I mean, that's not
Sounds
really going
very
to help.
valuable. I
So,
don't
yeah,
think
I
that's
mean,
what he's doing.
it's always the seven of diamonds. Just tell them that.
It
So,
always
I
is.
don't think that's quite what he's doing, but one thing I know
uh,
about the professor is he doesn't waste his time with foolishness. If if he thinks it's valuable,
although I did get him going with these pond monsters,
oh,
he really got into that.
but he
And
thought it was valuable, right?
yeah, uh, I'm I don't pretend to be smart at all, but I was making that up, but he seemed to think it was real.
Well, I guess I'll
So
eat my words.
it just made him happy, though. It made him really happy. So it's nice to make someone smile.
A worthy goal, yes. All right. Well,
All right.
I think that's then we just wait until they get back and maybe share the plan with
All
talk a
right.
little bit with them.
That.
Maybe would
Okay.
probably bolster this idea of just going tonight. If
Oh,
that's if we think it's important, then
And that conversation would have taken up about real time conversation time. So you guys are back at the hotel, I'm assuming, then at Semirami's at like 1 o'clock and having this conversation in your room or at the bar. Um, Probably in your room
Yeah.
because you're no longer having these kind of public conversations.
Right.
So, um, back to Dr. Kafors. You have completed everything that you're going to do that day. I'm going to say it's because you've learned the spell and tried to cast it. He's like, well, uh, give it another effort uh, at a time of your choosing, but there's no more I can teach you on this now. Um, if you wish to meet at Ibn Tulin and try to convince Al-Dahabi of the imminent danger, we can go there now if you wish. But you said you had to come in the back door because of our friends at the front door.
Quite. Seems that they were quickly able to recover after their accident.
Probably not the same guy, right?
It was a
Well,
joke. It was
there
the
were
persistence.
two of
I know.
there were two of them the first time, and only one of them suffered the accident.
Mhm. I think we all need to be
He
very
he
careful.
he fell on a
Revenge
gear
is,
shift really hard.
yeah, that sounds about right. Do Clyde, am I catching urgency then? We should go right now to Ibn Tulin.
The character would say yes, but
Okay,
also there's two other party members who aren't here.
right, right.
That's
That
right.
I we can perhaps meet you there.
okay. What time would you like to meet at Ibn Tulin?
I think, Carl, I think we need to collect
16,
our companions.
1600 hours.
1600,
There we
4
go.
p.m. Okay. Um. All right. I can arrange it. I will see you there at at 1600 hours. And then he'll salute.
And I will say, might be also being extra protection just in case. You never know, they might hit tonight.
Uh, and he grabs like a little, like it's a stiletto. This is similar to machete. He
It,
puts it in his
it
pocket.
works.
Uh, cannot be too careful. Um, all right. Assalamu alaikum. And he will leave. Well, he'll walk you guys out. Are you guys, I'm assuming, going out the way you came?
Yes.
Okay. Um, are you trying to blend slash not be discovered slash whatever?
I'd say yes.
Well,
I mean, that's a good idea.
pulling the penny loafers. Need stealth checks.
All right, Harmon. All you gotta do is just act like you don't care.
I care
You'd be
so
surprised,
much.
but you don't. Just act like you don't care.
I care so much. That's double 40s for Harmon.
All you gotta do is just act like you belong.
Okay.
I don't belong.
But you do. It's all part of the game, Harmon.
I hate this game.
I care so much. But you catch them, you know, on a lunch break, having a little hummus, a little falafel. Falafel. I want some
I feel
falafel.
awful.
Uh, all right. So, you guys sneak past them. You're relatively certain you're not seen by any other folk as you make your way back to Semiramis and to your room. And by 3-ish, you are reunited in the room. Now you have an hour to get yourselves over to Ibn Tulin, but I imagine you have, some conversation to have or decisions to make because Purdy, I heard Corey say, Purdy's pretty adamant about going into the pyramids tonight. So, what?
He doesn't feel she has anything to offer defending the girdle. Like, if he's holding on to that and people have been warning him, why doesn't he have his own guards?
I I still think that if we think they're attacking there, that's the perfect opportunity and cover for us to go to take care of this mummy.
I would agree.
They'll all be there, and
Or at least a portion of them, to
and
have.
my throwing rocks inaccurately is not going to help defend the thing.
You, Harmon. I, as much as I feel sorry for the people who are going to be attacked, there's nothing I can do to help with that, and I think we need to take advantage of the distraction.
I
That
agree. Dying with them does no one any good.
But who's to say they're attacking tonight as well? It could be attacking within 3 days. Maybe that's the bad thing. Maybe 5 days is the plan to storm the mosque to get what they need. Because they can't do it until they have all the items.
Certainly, all of that's true. And I think that I think that our best course of action is to find out when they are attacking, and you take that time to go and try to dispose of the mummy.
It's the thing. I don't know when. I'm not in the camp. I can't figure that stuff out right now. The
I
only way I
don't
can do
either.
so is the only thing I can do is. And then he thinks for a second and just. I could stake out the. Give me a pair of very good binoculars and put me in the desert. I can stake out that camp for as long as I need.
I think that might be our best course of action.
I have field glasses. I
That
don't
will
know if
Yep,
do
they're
it.
very
I do
good
too.
binoculars, but
Work.
Those will
yeah.
do. I would think.
30, something on your mind there?
Like whether or not they get the girdle,
Yes.
that's one way to stop this. But we know they need the money. And so if we try to get down there and at least cut off, that mummy's big toe, and then we just start running, the car is going to be ready for us tomorrow. We
I
can
think I think it needs to be something more substantial than a toe, because a being can live without that. I think we should plan to take something it couldn't live without, if they come back.
do
That's
we
a pretty good start.
They take out a lot of the vital organs and things when they mummify something. I mean, all of that should be in containers already outside of the body.
We are dealing with forces beyond our understanding. I don't believe a simple missing of the hearts might be an issue for them.
do we
What
have a
would
sense?
be vital is what my question is. If
Well, a human
Well,
sacrifice would be a great way to replace those, now wouldn't it?
Just to
I
just
I think Clyde might be right that taking the head is the best course of action.
as a reminder, just what you were told, I think, if I remember correctly. But if I didn't tell you this, I should have, so it's a retcon. All of her parts need to be there for her to be resurrected. So
So if we take a little thing,
if you take
it's
if you take a toe, she can't be resurrected. Just to put that out there.
Does that include the canopic jars? Because if we could find the jars that have the interior bits, we could take those more easily. Even we don't even need to cut anything up.
You saw no canopic jars, but you don't know what was, because you did not slide open the sarcophagus when you were there. So, uh, hard to say.
maybe we take them and cut off a piece just to be safe.
I agree. And maybe we cut off a big piece. We'll see. We should get something good.
I mean, if we get
Oh.
back quick, what we can do is we can take one toe and we can slide it in the pocket of the Dutchman as he goes off, and we can take the other one a different.
That is a great idea.
I sell-
It puts him in some danger if they can somehow locate it, but it also sends two pieces in entirely different directions.
Or we
Yeah,
could sell it to some Englishmen for their soup.
Or we could just ship it to Van Heuvelen.
Or
We could ship it to all kinds of different places, really. Just random
Yes.
people from the
All
phone
kinds
book.
of one finger to every different relative
This is-
of
Oddly, this is covered in the book. Um, shipping body parts is covered in.
good.
It was you would need some assistance in getting that through um, international.
Come on, if it's a thumb and we just wrap it up in something or put it in a wildebeest or something,
Put it
nobody
inside a
would
warthog.
know. A warthog, that's right.
Oh,
There's so many warthogs going to New York.
I just for example, if you were to just try to mail a head, that would not work.
Mailing ahead.
But-
That would be ridiculous.
No, we're keeping that.
Everything else has been so sane up until this
But
point.
a toe? 10 different toes in 10 different places? No one looks for a toe.
Each one inside a different warthog.
let me just
They all
Look
end
at
up at the
plenty of
Juju House in
tea.
USA.
Oh, we could get tea from the tea house and it just would be
I
part
feel
of
like
the
you're
tea.
in your creativity, and one of those toes needs to go down the throat of that little kid who turned us in. Then he can go.
I'll take no part of that.
Ooh.
You don't have to. Don't worry.
The British think that would be very good for him, though, to consume a bit of mummy.
That's fine.
All British, okay? We're not all idiots.
Well, no, I mean the British people. They're the largest consumers of mummy bits that I know of.
I just, the British are being brought up a lot today, and I don't say anything about stupid Americans. So
We do all kinds of stupid things, but we don't eat mummies very often.
Very
I'm not
often.
saying we
not
don't.
unless you're
Not very
cannibals,
often.
but that's besides the point.
maybe we don't need to fake an argument like Purdy was saying. We could actually have one.
Anyways, I guess it comes down to where are we going from here? Do we want to go to the mosque or do we want to go to the pyramid? I would nominate the mosque to start, and then once time has passed a little deeper into the night, we know an entrance to the underground complex. Under the cover of darkness, we can go in.
I think we should go to the mosque to keep to our word, because Dr. Kapoor has assisted us, and I wouldn't want to leave him hanging. But after that, I think that our primary course of action should be watching for the opportunity to sabotage the mummy rather than defend the mosque.
Okay. I'm assuming another car is hired. Oh, go ahead.
So what if? I know everyone's guarding the girdle, but what if the girdle were destroyed? What if it no longer exists?
I'm pretty sure that would be a great way to make an enemy of the guardian of the girdle.
I mean,
Perhaps they've already tried for hundreds of years and been unable to find a way.
maybe we could ask him.
As if he's willing to even
This
meet with us.
might be a better question for him.
If this thing is so dangerous, why don't you get rid of it?
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, so we're agreed. We're going to steal the girdle.
We will
I don't
see
recall
what
that being
happens.
suggested, but
There's alternative is just going to the pyramid. But if you guys agree on stealing
We're
this
going
girdle,
to take the girdle and we're going to make Van Heuvelin wear it.
That might take some convincing.
We're going to send him off to the Netherlands in a girdle. He wouldn't be the only one.
in his one-piece swimsuit, he would look fetching on that ship. By that
The
steerage.
hussy.
Oh,
He might be a hussy.
slattern. Or a hussy.
He might even meet the love of his life while he's on that, wearing that girdle.
Stranger things have
Who could
happened on
resist?
cruises. Okay.
Still kind of. I understand your desire to go to the mosque. I don't feel I'm useful going to the mosque. I really don't. If it's attacked while we're there, I'm useless. I mean, I can come along for company if it's not attacked and you just want to have conversations, but
That's all I'm foreseeing. I'm in the same boat. If it's attacked, I'm not helpful. But I'm mostly going because we told Dr. Kapoor that we would, and I don't like not following through.
Do you want to have Daisy remain? Do you want to remain back or do something different?
I think there's anything else I would do on my own. And then
Hey,
we've been doing the buddy system, so I'm sorry, Corey, what were you saying?
I wouldn't let you stay alone. Is what I'm saying, if one person were staying there.
Well, I suppose if Clyde and Purdy went and the fight broke out, the two of you can be useful, and Daisy and I could stay behind. But then we're not doing anything useful.
Right. I know. There's no sense in staying behind and doing nothing.
Well, Daisy,
So
you're a great judge of character, and Harmon, you have a great intellect. And maybe perhaps with your two combined,
I
you can see
really
if anyone.
don't. I'm learning. I really don't. I've done a lot of reading, but that doesn't equate to intellect.
believe it or not, I'm rather intelligent at times, but I don't know how that would be useful.
I'm a stupid, stupid man.
I mean, you may not be great
Learning
at
magic.
fighting.
Learning magic has taught me one thing: that I am a stupid, stupid man.
You can't be that stupid,
I,
Hallman. You learned it. Don't sell
I mean,
yourself short.
you don't have to be good at fighting directly to be useful in a fight.
By the way, do you get to put the X by int? Because I think you get to roll to increase your intelligence.
I don't think you do. I think it's
Oh,
for aging.
I don't think those ever increase.
oh,
I think the only time they increases with age,
with
and there might be
age.
just education,
Something's with age, and something's decreased with age.
Okay,
like your appearance.
all right.
Well, I'm dashed attractive, though.
I'm sitting at a pretty 40.
You've got a pretty
Oh.
face, Hallman.
But I'm stupid.
No, you're book smart. You're just not that street smart.
So refreshing to hear a faculty member say that.
Aww.
I ran into a faculty member from Marion yesterday in a weird circumstance, and it was fun. He's not stupid, but it reminded me.
Gonna say you are streaming. You may not want to start insulting people.
No, I'm not actually.
But you
Watch
were.
what
No, no.
Careful.
So somebody who I admired but had a similar opinion. Anyway, and I was like, yeah. Oof. All right.
Here's what I'm saying. From a player standpoint, I don't want to leave you guys behind to do nothing.
I know.
I
I'll
mean,
come
that's-
along. I mean, it just I don't see myself as being very useful, but I don't have anything else to suggest. So I get what you're saying. We might as well all stick together.
All right. So you guys travel, I assume, by hired car again, and arrive roughly on time to Ibn Tulin. Uh, You are greeted at the front door by Dr. Kafur, who says, "I I have been able to secure some time with Al Dahabi. It took quite a bit of persuasion, but he is willing to meet with you. Come with me." And he takes you in, and basically, I don't remember who was here the first time who sat in the office, and the guy never came. But uh, uh, this time,
I think that was me and Harmon.
okay, yeah. Uh, this time you. Nope, wrong button. You meet a man who looks like this. Uh, and he is sitting just it's mid-afternoon, but he's having a cup of coffee, and has a sort of tranquil expression on his face, but um, does frequently, even as you're walking in, you can see his eyes flicking to the clock on the wall. Um, but he gestures you to sit and at this table, and says, "Dr. Kafur has convinced me that you have important warnings for me to hear."
I know how valuable your time is, so we'll make this blunt. Um, there's an organization out in the currently in the deserts by the pyramids of Giza who are trying to resurrect the Queen Nitocris, and they've currently a possession of the crown and other necessary artifacts to do such a thing.
They have had
We're worried that they're
those
gonna.
for years.
Well, that's no.
They will not get the
Besides the,
girdle. We have protected it.
what makes you think you can protect it this time around?
There are always bad people. We have protected it, our order, for 300 years. My soul's prepared. How's yours?
These people seem to feel that they have a timetable in the next few days. Something important is happening that they are pushing toward. Um,
What do you
they
believe
might
this
make a
to
more
be?
concerted. I don't know. I don't know what the event is. But they are focused, and they may make a more concerted effort. We simply want to alert you. Um, I don't know that we're asking for you to do anything specific beyond know that you may need to redouble your defenses for a time.
There are 8, and there's a special name for them, and I cannot remember what it is. Um, 1 second, please. Working. God, there's so much in this book. Sorry.
Magi.
It's just a zillion different. Okay. Uh, there are 6 ulama who guard it 24 hours per day. Am I saying you look like you recognize the word, Corey? Am I saying it correctly? Oh, okay. Uh, 6 ulama who guard it 24 hours a day. Um, they have been sanctified by Allah to guard it. It is their sole purpose. It is their sole intention. They will happily give their lives defending it.
So what? Like my understanding is that there are some other. I apologize. We didn't meet the first time. This is my first time here. But my understanding is that there's 2 other items that are equally um, important, and um, and that hold sort of the same level of.
Those three items will awaken the great evil
What if
when
we
brought
told you
together.
they have two of them? Can't two of them get the third?
The other two were not.
If they're that powerful.
The other two were lost to time. We have guarded this. It doesn't surprise me they have found them. But we know what we have, and we guard it. Attempts have been made before. We have stopped them in the past.
When was the last one? How many years has it been?
Uh, he looks to be about 90. Uh,
Hmm.
I was a young man. It was some 75 years ago.
A lot has changed in the well, past century, I can even say. Advanced business and technology can prove much for just 6 men.
I think they would find themselves wanting against these 6 men.
That all may be true. Just simply understand that the attempts may be more focused and more zealous in the next few days than they have been before. If if you take nothing else from this meeting, then to consider your defenses heightened or your alert. Um, Likewise,
Okay.
we would be remiss if we did not bring it to your attention so that you could know that an assault is likely forthcoming.
I appreciate your warning. I sense the goodness of your intent. Uh, we are allied, but we are fine.
Know also that these people operate as much through deceit as they do through force, and they may attempt to attain it in that manner and not through an assault.
And I mean no disrespect to you, but I'm aware of this, and this is why I am so cautious now.
Well, I pray that your trust and your faith is not misplaced in this endeavor.
Faith has
Eh,
protected us for so long, we will trust in it a little longer.
Just in the off chance, when was the last time you checked who was there?
Right before I came in this room.
That's a great start. Because you never know. Sometimes you leave things unattended for about a moment and they can be gone in an instant.
It is never unattended. There are 6 ulama who guard it. There is always a 7th who sleeps. So basically, he's saying there's always 6 people awake guarding it at any given time.
Might seem like a foolish question. It's just that there was such certainty that that group is going to be able to try to resurrect the queen. Why would they have such certainty if it's absolutely impossible for them to get this girdle and they need it to do their ritual?
The
They had
last,
some sort
Maybe
of seer among them who was confident.
this is the first time you've seen just a sliver of doubt creep into it, you know? Just a sliver. The last time they came, they sent 20 men. Those 20 men's bones rot beneath Ibn Tulin. They could send 50 and they will not walk out here. I
They may not send men.
then what good would any of us do against creatures or devils? We must trust in Allah. Allah. Allah? Sorry.
Is that what you think it would take? It would take supernatural beings to be able to
I,
accomplish that task.
I do.
Well, they have them.
What are you proposing we do differently?
I don't know. It's not my. It's not my business to defend it. I simply. You absolutely must know that they are not simply sending men. They're not limited to 20 men. They're not limited to 50 men, and they're not limited to men at all.
He's watching you, and then he slowly looks over at Dr. Kafur, who nods at him, like backing you up. You know. Uh,
I don't have an answer. I don't know how better to defend it. I'm not a martial man. I'm not a military man. I, you simply must know that the threat coming is greater than any your umami have your ulami whatever. I'm sorry. It's greater than any you faced before. They are certain that they can attain it, and they will make every effort to do it. And your reliance on always having protected it in the past is misplaced because they will try harder than they have ever tried before. And simply the old ways are not enough anymore.
this is
They they transported a sarcophagus through passageways it shouldn't have fit through, but there it is. They have a portal to a place that I can't comprehend. Everything is in place.
uh, I will. Uh, I understand the concern. It is 50 feet underground with only one way in from the ceiling, from a ladder that must be raised by the men below. The room is small. It only permits those 7 men. Anyone who falls down there falls into the hands of our men. I I don't know how to guard against things that I don't know, but I will let the ulama know that we must be alert. We must be ready.
Can I ask
Well,
another foolish question?
Yes.
Is there a reason why this thing must be saved and intact rather than destroyed?
Oh, this is not a foolish question. In my youth, we attempted to set it on fire, and it grew hot itself and burned everything else around it. We dropped it in a pool of acid, and eventually the acid evaporated, and it remained. We
Okay.
tried to cut it with swords that are holy, and it cannot be cut. Dr. Kafur clears his throat and says, there's only mentions of some substance that I've never heard of, uh, but allegedly it can destroy it. Um, I have no idea what it is. He says it would need to be aqua regia.
Do you know what that is, Harmon? Is that anything you've read about?
Not yet. I mean, I understand the Latin. Certainly, it's the king's water. It's uh, probably a reference to the deities, I suppose.
Is there water in the tomb that we saw?
There was. Um, was there? 1 second, please. Working. So much in every chapter.
Let's find
So
what I
much
wrote down.
in every.
I might have even drawn
Oh yeah, there
pictures
was
in there.
water, and it was undulating weirdly.
Okay.
Now I
So,
remember.
I mean, I don't know if a king is the same as a pharaoh, but I wonder if it would need water from the tomb itself to destroy it.
I don't know.
Hmm. Well, that explains why you're guarding it then. If you can't destroy it, then you guard it.
Exactly.
I would watch for tunneling as well as climbing down. They are operating out of tunnels currently,
This,
and
And they did
hide.
have a way of, like, they burst that, how, that, Faraz, Faraz, is that his
for
name?
us, Nijar.
Najar?
Yeah.
That place was just exploded. I don't know what they used to do that.
Uh, yeah, Dr. Kafur also does a sort of. Yeah, no idea.
I just don't. I worry, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I worry that your response to our warning early on, and it has shifted, but early was something of complacency. And you simply must know that the threat is greater than you've faced before. I don't know why. I don't know why they have so much more power than they have before, but they do.
Dr. Kafur sort of. Well, perhaps they only had one or none of the other two at that time. But all signs point to them having the other two now, which means they will stop at very little to get the third. I fear this is a dangerous place. And Al-Dabi says, Dabi says, it has always been a dangerous place. We can defend, and if we cannot, I know of nothing else that can defend it.
We are hoping to devise a means to render their efforts futile in by other means, by removing other elements they may require. So we will do our best to do that while you defend this.
Understood. I I do appreciate the warning. He looks at Dr. Kafur and nods, and this we will take every precaution. But this was our charge given by Allah to protect. We are not without weapons. We are not without defenses. And if
Would you consider using more of them?
how so?
I mean, if I quite personally, I think my role here is to help these folks. But if the time comes where I can help you defend against this, I don't. I mean, I think it's as good as any chance to try to stop this any way we can.
Do you know when they plan to attack? Would you wish to stay here until that happens? We will feed you.
I do like good food. I'm pretty sure I smell some. Um,
Excellent food.
well, I mean, you'd have to because there's got to be some perks of that job down there. Um, the
Your soul
uh,
will be
uh,
rewarded in the next life.
oh, that's a tall order right there.
Yeah.
Um, but why don't if I can find time off from my duties to my friends here, I will come back.
Understood. You will be welcome.
Well, thank you. I do my best to help you and to keep you and your friends alive the best I could.
And we will do the same for you. He smiles. If that is all, I suppose I have preparations to make, and if you allow me to heighten their attentions. And so he stands up and waits for you all to stand up before he leaves. He's not going to walk out if you guys are still hanging out in there, so uh, if you guys leave, then he will walk out of the room, but otherwise he will stand patiently waiting until you guys get up to go. And Dr. Kafur will wait and hang back to talk to him a little bit, unless you guys want to hear what he has to say. But
I pray your confidence is not misplaced. Then
It's
I'll
festive.
stand up to leave.
I will stand up as well.
okay.
Maybe we can send some cats your way if things get desperate. Good luck.
Appreciate the offer of cat help. Um,
Oh, you'd be surprised. They've come in a pinch.
I no, I could. After this conversation, nothing surprises me. Um, Dr. Kafur leans over and whispers a couple words to him over in Arabic, and they have like a little conversation in front of you. Uh, at the close of which they shake hands, and Dr. Kafur says, "I have agreed to remain to assist in guarding the girdle."
Well, you take care of yourself. Thank you for all of your help, and I hope that we talk again soon.
That is, of course, the hope. Thank you, Dr. Oliver. Um, Dr. Oliver
Martin.
Martin. Dr. Martin. Uh, oh, this is where we part. He gives you all big hugs and goes with Al Dahabi down another hallway, and you guys are led to the entranceway. And it is now very early evening, 5:30. Sun's still up a bit. What do you guys wish to do? Night one is coming.
I think we need to go and set up where we can watch for the expedition to leave, or some sort of lessening of the guard, as it were.
Okay.
I'm sure I could find us a spot.
All right. Guys, I'm assuming ditch the car at some point, like, pay off the rider, and then so that the car, you're not driving right up to the expedition. I'm assuming.
Nice
Kind of.
big horn.
Yep.
Beep, beep.
Hi guys.
Back. Missed you.
um, but moving us over to Egypt and Cairo map. Apparently we used the Clyde marker on this map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Clyde.
why. Just me.
Alright. So, uh, you would be going across towards the Giza Plateau. And on this map here, now I'm drawing your attention to sort of this cutout map down here. Cairo's up here. The pyramids of Giza are way over here. Um, so, you're kind of a bit a ways from Cairo. Uh, and then 20 miles south of you is Dashur, just to draw your attention to that since it came up a lot in tonight's conversation. And the pyramids of Dashur are again in the desert, uh, some miles away.
So for some reason I'm not on that map.
Oh, okay. I don't
And
know why you
it's
are
interesting
either.
because it shows me who is on it, and my little C doesn't appear to be on it.
I just pulled you in. I have this little button I can
Cool.
click to force you over. Um, so are you over
Um,
on Egypt and Cairo?
don't see anything.
Oh.
But maybe-
Is the Clyde token not working for everybody? I'll put in a better token. Not that it's better
Hey
than
now,
Clyde.
what's
It's
wrong with
not. There's nothing wrong with Clyde. All right. You should be able to see with the Nyarlathotep token.
I'm gonna reboot because, or not reboot, but
Okay. Can the rest of you see from the party token?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not peeing.
what they all say.
Wine.
I mean, now I can't not hear it.
Well, I didn't hear it at all that time. It was just last time somehow it came through the mic pretty pronounced.
It's funny because I've actually upped my mic reception since then, but I might have been closer to it.
I can now see it. Sorry, I think it was my browser.
No worries.
So
Well,
when we when they heard about the bent pyramid at Dashur, was that the first time we've heard of that, or have we heard more things about that?
about Dashur,
Yeah.
I
Whereas I have notes of it
you don't have any notes of it.
other than now.
Okay. Um, I had meant to I think I had said that they were that the Clive expedition was in Maidoun uh, or Memphis,
Yeah,
and that was
Memphis
a
sounds right.
bit of a misspoke. They were in between Memphis and Dashur. Um, Not a bit of a misspoke. I didn't describe that as clearly as I should have. So you would have potentially heard about them being, south of the ruins of Memphis, towards the Red Pyramid.
Okay. I do remember hearing something about the Red Pyramid now that you say that. So that's just that's about the only other references we
That's
would have
the
known they were down there
only
investigating.
reference you've had is that after the disappearance of this mummy, they then moved on towards the ruins of Memphis, south of the ruins of Memphis, towards the Red Pyramid. And technically, I really should have been more explicit. Not technically, I should have been more explicit that they were camping just north of Dashur. That the
Okay.
expedition was just north of Dashur.
Was that when we first got into town?
Basically, yeah, because you had heard about the Clive expedition being in town because of Drunk Van Hoevelen,
Right.
and that they had since moved on down to Memphis. And you were like, okay, so these Penhu folk had moved way south of Cairo, right when
But
you
now
guys
they're
got there.
back up
Then
to
they
where?
had just gotten back in when you guys went there the second time. And that's when you met Agatha and all of them. So
Okay. I just, yeah, it had seemed like something in the back of my mind. I knew they were in other places, but I
Right.
just wasn't sure how much we knew about it. So,
I don't think I described it terribly well. I think I had said my doom, and my doom is a little too far south. If you go to the top left insert, like map cutout, you can see Memphis and my doom, and I think I had said my doom or Memphis. I don't remember, but I remember mentioning both of them at one point. Uh, and really, I should have just said Dashur. Uh, so I'll retcon that now to just say they were near Dashur at the Red Pyramid.
cool. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. That would 100% be me because I just wasn't very clear. Um, okay. Um, and so now, like this token, I cannot make it any smaller than it is for the size of the map here. Um, and so right now, you guys are like, let's see if I can draw this. Apparently, it will not let me draw. There we go. Right around here, in this environs of Cairo insert here in the bottom left, um, and sort of, I guess, how do you want to position yourselves? So, are you near where that garbage hole was? Are you trying to get an idea of what the camp is doing? What's your goal? Like, I know with your field glasses, you're trying to keep your distance. So,
I'm all for camp lookout. We don't really need to hide where we're gonna go in. Probably not be the best idea to be in that spot. I guess in a position just so we can have a nice look at the camp.
I'm 100% following your lead on this one.
That's what I'll do.
okay, is
No, no one's saying anything. I don't.
okay.
You
Well,
said what you were doing, and Harmon said he's following your lead,
okay.
and I'm like, okay, that sounds good.
I
So I was
guess
waiting for Paul to
okay.
say something, and I'm like, I don't know what we're supposed to be doing
my
here.
my
Uh,
my thought was whether or not I should have asked. Is Clyde going by himself up on to get a lookout spot, or is anybody going with him?
well, no
I'll
matter what
I'll
happens, you can come if you wish. I mean,
I'll
that's
go
what I'm
with
gonna
him,
say.
but it'll just be there to be another set of eyes looking around us.
Gotcha. Okay.
Go as well.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. You guys are like trying to be like a quarter mile away. I think right. Like
Yeah,
some
I'll go as
some
long as I don't
distance.
feel I need to sneak. Like if it's something that needs to be really sneaky, I'll stay back because I'm not very good at being sneaky.
No,
So
that's fine. So as you guys get to the top of this dune, you pull out the field glasses and sort of try to get an idea of this camp outside of the pyramid of Mycerinus, and you see like all these tarps and nettings being pulled off of a large object. And I mean, it doesn't take Clyde or probably any of you too long, but Clyde almost immediately recognizes that it's pulling off of a plane. Uh, it's a small, like, passenger plane with maybe a little bit of cargo capacity. Uh, you reckon maybe 6 to 8 people could be in it, or 2 people plus cargo. Uh, and dialing in, you see Clive and the blonde German woman having a small conversation as you know the plane prep is going on, and the plane is getting sort of they don't really taxi so much as pull it into the direction it's going in. Like people just lift it up and a whole bunch of them yank it into the direction, and they're pointed in your direction. Uh, as they start getting the prop ready for contact. Um, so you know Clyde being, and probably Daisy too, having served in the war, uh, may have seen a couple of biplanes and whatnot, uh, getting ready to for takeoff. Uh, they're they're about ready to. She's about ready to fly this thing out, and she's going to be heading south towards you guys.
We didn't have a plan for a plane. Wonder what they're trying to
Mm,
take off with.
No,
Be a great way to get around the desert.
yeah, except that you can't really stop and start very easily.
Oh, you could not. That's definitely better than driving a car through the sand. What's
Right,
south of us?
Well, the
Kenya
bent pyramid, the red pyramid, where they have been before,
or Nairobi.
that as well.
I can't imagine they're taking your plane to the Bent Pyramid as it's just not that far. It's a lot of trouble for such a short trip. But Nairobi makes sense.
Well, we are not there, so I guess we can't really know for sure.
No, we can't.
Do you see how many people? Is it? Are they taking cargo or are they taking
Now,
people?
as you're watching, because so you guys have two field glasses between the three of you, right? Like, because two of you have field glasses.
Yeah.
What? At least two.
At least two? Okay, you might have three. So as you guys are passing this back and forth, so you can look easily. It looks like just the blonde woman is going to get in and pilot this plane. And after a while, she gets in, and somebody starts, contacting the propeller propellers on both sides of, two prop. Start, um, and she starts taxiing to take off into the. It's sort of a moonlight, like early twilight takeoff.
She's going to be heading in this direction, so
Yes.
we should
We should.
probably
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
off the
Yes.
dune.
Yes. Agreed.
Plane climbs and it right over top of you. Uh,
I'd like to take out my surface to air missile.
okay, you
No,
have
I don't
that.
You've been
have
carrying that since Peru. It's about time it paid off.
I mean, seriously, if we played with encumbrance rules,
I don't have one.
I know, I know. So she takes off to the south, um, and if you, I just leave it at that, and it's just heading due south from you.
I don't think they'd be flying all the way down to Nairobi in this type of time. That probably
I
unless
just,
they're
I,
day travel.
I
They probably
Is
have a
it,
secondary crew that's at the pyramids just south of us.
honestly, where they're going seems entirely irrelevant because we have no way of knowing it.
Guess we'll find out if she comes back within the day or so.
Agreed. In the meantime, we'll watch for some sort of more aggressive move.
Um, so time passes. Uh, unless you guys stop me, an hour goes by, 2 hours go by.
I mean, how are like
Both
okay,
stars.
I'd like to ask because rather than sitting here for 2 hours when it's dark and we can't see anything, is there a point where are we planning to go in
Well,
tonight? I
to
or are we just
to
gonna sit here and watch?
to clarify a little bit though, I mean you could still actually. I mean you're like quarter mile away. They have lights up in the camp, and there are people moving around the camp, and you know. So if you're watching for what they're doing, you can kind of see them hanging out by their own torch lights and firelights. Torchlight being electric torch light, and a couple lanterns that are hung up, and the tents are all lit from within, so you can see the movement that's going on. But the
And we only
first
induct-
hour or two, it just seems pretty normal movement going around there.
While we are killing time, is there? I can't. I don't know the rule for this. How often can I try to cast this spell? Is there a rule? I mean, it doesn't have a casting time listed. It doesn't have and I can't see anything in what I've found online for. It just says the first time you cast it, you have to make this power roll, but it doesn't say anything about when I can try.
guess that comes into the casting time if how long it takes to cast the spell.
Yeah, I mean, because some of them do take like hours to cast. So, like, since this one doesn't have a, because yeah, I just read the whole thing on how to cast a spell, and it doesn't say that anything. So, following a failed casting roll, the character has a choice whether to make a second attempt to cast the spell, either immediately or at any time in the future, and in doing so, pushing. Says a hard pow. Okay, let me read the whole thing. A hard pow roll is required to successfully cast the spell for the first time. If the casting roll is successful, refer to the spell description for the outcome. If the casting roll is failed, nothing happens. Following a failed casting roll, the character has a choice whether to make a second attempt to cast the spell, paying the costs a second time, either immediately or at any time in the future, and in doing so, push the casting roll. If the pushed casting roll is successful, the spell works normally without negative consequences. If the pushed casting roll is failed, the spell still works normally, but dire consequences ensue for the caster. Ultimately, a spell can always be cast. The casting roll gauges the harm the caster suffers in the process, rather than the success or failure of the spell. So
Okay.
it doesn't. I mean, you can cast as many times as you want, but what you were saying on reading Flesh Ward was that there was no real downside.
It costs me 4 sanity every time I cast it.
Oh, okay.
But that's every time I cast it, not every time I attempt to cast it. And so that's saying that in order to cast it, now that I have failed a casting roll, in order to cast it, I have to push it. That anytime I try a second time, it's a push.
That's
And
what it
it-
sounded like, yeah.
And it
That-
will be cast, but the roll will dictate what cost it
Right.
exacts from me.
I feel like this is a little unclear.
I feel like this is entirely unclear.
Yeah, yeah. Because it seems to me like if it's like the attempt to cast, yeah, I guess, and then I guess I mean, the thing is if you want to cast it, you're gonna cast it. Once you've done the
Yeah.
intelligence check, you're gonna cast it. It's whether or not there is super shitty consequences
And
for
it
having
seems
cast it.
it seems silly to me that, like, from what you've just read, it sounds like any time I try a second time, it is a push roll.
But once you know it, you can always cast it.
So now, once I've cast it once, there's no roll anymore. I just
Right.
cast it when I
Right.
cast it.
Right.
But from having failed once, no matter what, I have to push to roll to try again.
Basically, they're saying you had one chance to get it without any consequences. Now,
Yeah, without a cost.
now if you want to try again, you can just walk away. You don't have to try to cast this spell.
Yeah.
You can walk away and never try again, or you can try and you're gonna cast it no matter what. But if you don't get a
But there
hard
might be a
success,
cost.
there's going to be a cost.
Yeah.
Matt-
They really don't encourage spellcasting in this game,
No,
do
they don't
No.
at all.
Because, like, even to learn the spell, is difficult,
the
and that
the whole
there's a cost to casting it,
the whole
but
thing
then
about
it
this
seems
game
like a
is
huge
this is
cost.
slowly you lose. Like, I mean, that's the like everything is a sacrifice in this game. It's a horror game. You're meant to you're meant to have awful things happen to you. It's not a a super heroic game. The idea is to create a sense of unease and horror with everything you do.
Well, it
Good
does
night,
that
Miles.
without every roll having to suck.
Yeah, I get that. I get that there's, it's not, you're not meant to be these like, untouchable heroes. It's just to have a mechanic of something like that's that cool, like a lot of the spells you were talking about in reading, but you start to wonder like, well, when would anybody actually be able
But
to
the
make use of
reward is
that?
the reward on Fleshward's pretty huge. I mean, and Plumb the Depths is
But
another one where you can
well,
teleport
and
anywhere in the world.
and
Yeah.
Um,
also if I leave it at this point, I've just wasted the last 3 sessions of this game.
Yeah. Yeah. How lucky are you feeling?
Horribly unlucky. I already spent all my luck for the day.
What do you like what do you have to roll to actually get a hard success?
27.
Uh,
I believe in you.
Well, I'm not gonna. If the next time I try, I am going to cast it. I'm gonna wait until we need it.
yeah, I could see that.
So I'll just try when we know we're going into the shit, and I will put it on somebody. Probably Purdy or Clyde.
Makes sense.
Probably Clyde. He's the one who always gets fucked up.
That would make sense.
Now,
It's just true.
Yeah,
yeah.
don't deny it.
I would just, as a friendly, say, uh, but Clyde's more of a range fighter and Purdy's you're up closer. Uh, but as a not that I think it necessarily matters because most of these things can spit Jew, whatever. But
Well, Clyde wasn't at range when he got his fat sucked.
that's true. That's true. There was fat sucking that occurred, and it was Clyde.
And
Uh,
that fat sucked.
Although who has our mummy cutting thing? That's
Happy
Purdy,
That's
Purdy.
right?
Purdy.
So,
Purdy has
Purdy.
that.
yeah.
Purdy's the warrior of legend.
So yeah,
Yeah.
this time I may want to put it on Purdy for this time because he's gonna have to go in and cut up a mummy.
All right. So after about 2 hours, there is a small gathering of folk that go into the main tent that is lit up a little bit more. Uh, and just seems like lots of people, like you can see the silhouettes of people standing, and there's
They're having a mixer.
just a bit of a sway. Yeah, maybe they're having a mixer. Um, but they're swaying synchronously. I mean, it might be the Lindy. I don't know. The Lindy Hop.
Honestly, they don't have to look this much like a cult. Like you can just be a cult.
It's
Who
dark out.
knows? I mean, they may even be trying to get the girdle without leaving the tent. We had this thought that they would be gone and we would have an opportunity to
What
to
if
have
they're all gonna go in there and sway? Maybe this is our opportunity. They're distracted by their swaying.
they're doing some sort of ritual. Who knows how long it'll be, but
Yep. But it does look like a good chunk of the people, including you would have identified Martin Wingfield going in there. You would have identified Dr. Henry or Dr. Clive going in there.
I think we chance it. I think we go to our refuse hole and we try to get in there.
I think so too.
I think we need to get this done. We need to know that we've stopped this.
We can't figure out what they're doing, so
All
I
right.
think you're right, Harmon. What do you guys think?
If you're up for it, gather your gear. Let's do it.
All right.
I'm gonna
All right.
cast this spell on Purdy.
Here we go. Here we.
Okay.
I have no idea what the push roll's gonna be. Oh, I've got a chart I can roll on. Okay. Never mind. I've got one right here. All right.
Dandy push spell chart. How nice.
Oh, it's so close.
Uh,
I'm gonna spend
spend the
luck to get
luck.
it.
Spend the
Yeah.
luck.
Yes.
Four luck to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Hell
For
yeah.
sure.
And then I'm gonna spend 11 magic points
Ooh.
to give him 11d6 of armor
That is
I-
insane.
because I can't cast it again.
Right.
So
So all those are up. Purdy
there's
has 36 extra hit
36
points.
points of damage that you can just take. Every point you take takes away from that total.
So like
Wow.
if
You have
something hits you
magical armor.
for 30 points of damage, you still have 6 armor. Is what that
yeah, and
means.
you
Yep.
don't take a single point of damage.
Right.
I could nail you with like an entire just magazine of rifle shots, and you'd be fine. Like,
That's
just walk
pretty
it off.
good because the damage in here is really low count because the hit points are low count. You know, like big scary monsters have 25 hit points. So
Yeah, you
Wow.
could punch
Purdy is a
yourself
big,
in the
big scary
head
monster.
yeah,
3 times before you'd feel it.
30 or 36?
36.
So what does it
Does
make it
that
total hit
look-
points? Like 50?
Am I putting it in armor or am I putting
Put it in armor. In armor.
I am now a wizard.
You are a wizard. Harmon is
Wow.
now a wizard. It worked.
What does
Yay!
it look like? Does it look like something we can see?
It doesn't. It doesn't. When he casts it, it does. You see like this sort of grayish green shadowy stuff, but it just sort of and it like just attaches itself to him and then disappears. Can't tell anything different about him.
I'm going to vomit.
Are your muscles even bigger now?
And you lost the 4 sanity, right? Or
I'm
or
gonna
1d4,
do that
1d4.
again here because I'm gonna do it through the sheet.
Yep. 2.
I only lost 2 that
That's
time.
not too bad.
Yeah, 2 sanity for 36 armor.
Worth
Take
it. Worth it. All right.
In that case, I will fashion my breastplate.
Yep.
Get all my stuff ready
Yep.
because this is gonna suck.
Here we go.
Now understand that I am absolutely hiding behind you through this endeavor. Now that you're armored, I will not be shy to hide behind you. Not that I've been shy in the past.
I mean, it's just cutting the pinky toe off a mummy. We're going to be fine.
All of the
We just have
toes.
to
We need
get
to
to the
send all of the toes.
I have no idea if Ray Oslokus is a bot or somebody who came in here who wanted us to play Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up.
I
What?
assumed that Kerry was involved in that somehow.
That was not.
That's not Corey?
That's not me.
Okay. Fascinating. We have so few real people who come in here and chat that now I don't know what to do with that. All right. Well, welcome if you're here to watch some Call of Cthulhu. If you're here for Rick Astley,
Going to be disappointed. Sorry.
I don't know. You never know. Corey might spring some out. You just don't know. But it will be a Rick roll, and you won't see it coming. All right. Um. So I sort of feel like probably now. Do you guys want to keep going for a bit, or it's 10:15 Corey time? So I feel like we probably. Uh.
Assessment tomorrow. I
All
probably
right.
need to.
Let's let. If we start this now, it'll go too long. So we'll pick this up right with you guys going down the garbage chute, Flyboy. Um. And that. Yeah, very close to the end of Egypt, y'all. So, well done. You guys are really close to sorting this bit out. So,
I was exposed to a traumatic event.
you were exposed to a dramatic event. Ah, that was cool. Yeah, we cast our first spell in the game, so that's really cool too. By
And
we, I mean,
very likely the only one because it's such a fucking pain to learn them.
yeah, it's a rough go. I mean, and this we've talked about this before. Like for the most part, they're not really designed for players to get them. Uh, Only in like a long form game like this would it make sense. Like most Call of Cthulhu's are one or two, three shots maybe, and if you're gonna learn a spell like that's all you're gonna learn because when you're done with that adventure, your guy's like happy to be done adventuring, or he's dead, or she. Um, so like it
You're
it
gonna jump through a window with a shotgun.
yeah, most of the time you're gonna buy a shotgun and you're gonna do shotgunny things, but this in this game you just learn too much, and to not have the opportunity to learn a spell is sort of weird. So I was kind of happy that they built that in, so at least there's a chance to do a little bit of the magic in the game. But this game is not. This game is more about being a detective than anything else, and encountering strange ass shit. So uh, anyway, thanks for uh, bringing Rick Astley into our game, and also to the players for playing. Hope you had fun, and I know actually our next game is tomorrow night with the Warbler Brothers, and after that we will be playing against the Giants a week from now on Sunday. So until then, roll some dice, play some games, give your time and treasure to meaningful causes to you. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.